death threats. Like, they wanted to kill me. There was 22 other players out there who weren't performing, but I got singled out. I got injured, didn't play again. Wolves got relegated out of the Premier League.
Yeah.
After that, it was an absolute fucking disaster. My career just spiralled out of control. I moved away from Tottenham, moved on from them. I was gutted because I loved Tottenham, right? But I felt like the time was right for me to move on. In hindsight, maybe I still had 3 years left at Tottenham. You know, I could have gone back and fought for my place. You know.
Do you think you should have?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because after that it was an absolute fucking disaster. My career just spiraled out of control.
Yeah.
So I never ever. The biggest mistake I made was leaving Tottenham.
Right.
I should have never have left, because leaving Tottenham to go to Wolves, I thought was a good decision, but actually it was a terrible decision. It was a really bad decision. I moved away from my support network, my family, my home life, something that I've always had.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I properly moved away from it. And I moved to Birmingham with my partner at the time, and it was a fucking disaster. Disaster. And yeah, I look back and think, why did I leave? I should have stayed.
Do you think that would have still been... Obviously, Wolves didn't do so well after you signed for them.
No.
I'm not saying that's your fault, but, you know...
No, it was part of my fault.
But
Of course it was.
do you think that would have been different had you signed for a club that was more stable, was doing better, was on the up?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, like, at the end of the day, I realised, looking back, I went to Wolves with Mick McCarthy on loan, and it was good, but I was on loan. So it kind of was no pressure on me to, you know, stay there. When I signed for them, that was like, right, that's it. You've left Tottenham. So you're now away from the big club. You know, when you're a young player... You know, I was still young. I think I was maybe 23, 24, so I was still young.
And you feel it was downhill from there, career-wise, or not as good as it
downhill was? I fell off a cliff.
At that young age as well?
I fell off a cliff. Wow. Honestly, I didn't know where it was. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I got injured. So I signed for Wolves in the first 16 games we were playing. And I done okay. I was playing all right. Wolves promised me... I was the marquee signing for Wolves, right? Because I was, you know, coming from Tottenham was a big deal. I sat down with Mick in the summer, and they said, we're going to sign this, him, and him. We're going to have 6-7 players, and we're going to kick on. Yeah. Right, that's what we're going to do. We signed one player. We signed Roger Johnson. Right. So it was me and Roger Johnson that come in. And, you know, Roger was a good player. He was all right. But, we needed 5 or 6 signings to be able to compete that season. You know, they just stayed up. I scored on the last day of the season to help keep us up.
Yeah, we
stayed up on goal difference.
You really need to kick on.
So if you want to stay in the Premier League, you had to strengthen, right? And we didn't, and it ended up just being an absolute shit show. I got injured because of my back. I ended up getting groin tendonitis. So I played 16 games at the start of the season, got injured, didn't play again, and I was having injections in my groin. I was doing everything I could just to try and get out on a football pitch. And I was playing shit.
Yeah.
You know, every time I played, people didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. But I was, 10 minutes before I walk out, I'm in the doctor's room with a steroid getting injected into my groin just to numb the pain for 90 minutes. And then I'd walk off the pitch after 90 minutes. I can't walk for 5 days.
How often do you think that's the case? When we see a player who's been playing really well, all of a sudden has a drop in form?
Every week.
Is it? But is that so often going to be an injury that's causing that? And we just don't know about it?
I mean, there's so many, of course, there's so many different things. Yeah, injuries.
Yeah.
You know, that you see it now. Every player's playing on an injury.
Yeah.
No one's ever 100%.
Yeah.
Like, no one. It's just how low they're going. And I think now players, at that time, the player power with the physios and the manager was, give me the fucking injection, I'm playing.
Yeah, okay.
Now...
they say no.
They're like, no. There's a lot more welfare in terms of, looking after players and what's acceptable and what isn't. But it was like the Wild West. I was getting an injection every game to train and... Come on, I mean, I was just numbing a massive problem. Your body is telling you,
and then you make it worse
issue
because you can't feel the damage you're doing. Then
I was making it worse every single game, to the point where I was out for 9 months. I had 3 surgeries. I had 2 double hernia surgeries. I had a groin surgery. Both of them didn't work. So I come back, done 3 months physio to get back. Walked out on the football pitch, kicked a ball, still in pain. Another surgery, back 3 months, the same again. It was terrible. And by that point, Wolves got relegated out of the Premier League.
Yeah,
I'm still injured. So I'm like, right, so now I'm playing in the Championship. And I'm sat there like, I'm injured. and I'm in the Championship. This is not where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
I was having a bit of a nightmare off the field in terms of my, my marriage and that. I wasn't happy and things are going on. And I was just spiraling out of control. I come back, tried to get fit. We got relegated again. And I was like, and the problem was I was getting the blame for all this because I was the marquee signing, and I come back and I wasn't playing well. I wasn't fit.
Yeah,
I wasn't fit. I was nowhere near fit enough to be playing week in, week out to the level where I needed to be, and it ended up just being an absolute disaster. We got relegated again to League One. On the last day of the season, we played Brighton away, and we had to win by like 3 goals. We were 2-0 down after half hour. So it was just an absolute nightmare. And I didn't handle myself well in that situation. There was a few things I did where I looked back and made some big mistakes. And, I look back and go, I shouldn't have said that. A couple of interviews I said I shouldn't have said that. And then, I never forget at Brighton, we played, the Wolves fans were cheering to me, 40 grand a week, you're having a laugh. And I'm like... What they didn't understand what I was going through. Yeah, I was out on a football pitch. I knew I wasn't fit, but I wanted to be out there for the team. I was trying to be out there to, showcase my talent for one, and two, help the team try and stay in the Championship because it was a disaster. Yeah. There was 22 other players out there who weren't performing, but I got singled out, and I remember them singing that to me, and I just was like, well done. Fucking hell. That went down like a lead balloon.
I bet.
A lead balloon. Because what I didn't realise was I had a 30% wage cut from the Premier League. So I wasn't on 40 grand a week.
Yeah.
I was on 25.
But they've seen the headline.
They see it 40 grand a week. That's it. You're on 40 grand a week. So I'd say, of course you know what I'm on. That's what I did.
Yeah.
They saw it as I'm sticking 2 fingers up to them. Do you know what I mean? And that was terrible. Death threats. Like, they wanted to kill me.
Really?
Yeah, they wanted to kill me. I couldn't even go to the ground.
Was that scary? I mean, death threats. Is it one of those where you can just go, oh, that's not serious, it's just all bluster, or is it like, oh wow?
Yeah, it was
especially when you've got a family as well.
It was pretty serious. I turned up and they were attacking me outside the stadium. I had my son in my hand. Do you know what I mean? So it was pretty serious. Yeah. And it got to the point where I was like, wow, I need to just get out of here. They got relegated to, obviously, League One, and they made a decision to not involve me the next season at all. I didn't even have a squad number. So there was like 6 or 7 players. They had to get off the wage bill.
Were you happy with that? Were you like, I'm done with this?
No, of course not. I wanted to... Kenny Jackett actually become the manager.
Right, okay.
So I'd worked with Kenny Jackett at Millwall. He knew I was a good player.
So you were thinking, okay, now this might work out now.
Right, I'll go in first day of League One, deal with it. I kept my mouth shut all summer. I got myself fit, so I was actually fit. I come back first day, walked into the and Kenny Jackett says, "I need to speak to you." I was like, "All right, Kenny, how are you? Good to see you again." Yeah. He said, "You're not going to be involved this season." I was like, "What do you mean?" He went, "No squad number. You're not allowed in the dressing room, and from tomorrow you've got to turn up at 2:00 in the afternoon to train. You're not allowed to be seen around Wolves." And I was like, "Fucking hell!" I was like, "All right."
So it wasn't like they didn't like end your contract. It was, I guess.
No, I had 3 years left.
So so they couldn't do that. So they just froze you out, basically.
Just froze me out.
Yeah.
So they wanted me gone.
Yeah.
But the problem that they had, and what they didn't realise, was I was on a lot of money.
Yeah.
And obviously the players that have been involved, we got relegated twice. Who's going to sign these players?
Yeah.
On these contracts, I had to prove myself again.
Yeah.
So I tried to sort out some loan deals, and there was opportunities to go on loan to certain clubs. But I was like, no, I'm better than that. I'm not going to like a League One team again. Like, I've done that. I know where I'm at in terms of my ability. I've been injured. I put my stubborn head on and said, no, I ain't fucking going. You've gave me this contract. You have to... They wanted me to just walk away.
Yeah.
Like, for nothing. They were like, we'll let you go for nothing. I was like...
Hang on.
That doesn't work like that. You gave me a 5-year contract. It hasn't worked out for either of us. And I'm sorry. I really wanted it to work out. I moved my whole family up here. I'm going through shit as well. It hasn't worked out. What do you want me to do? I'm not going to just walk away from fucking 25 grand a week just because you don't want me anymore. I'm going to have to sit here and you're going to have to sort it out. I done a whole season
of that.
One whole season, yeah. I didn't go on loan. I done a whole season of not playing football. Training at 2:00 in the afternoon.
And were you fit then? Could you have been playing?
I was fit.
Right.
He brought me back in for one game. So they was doing okay, Wolves, but they had a few injuries.
Yeah.
And he brought me back in. Like, there was all the fans were like, we've got to get Jamie back. You've got a player there who's a Premier League football player, a Championship football player. You need to use him.
Yeah.
He brought me back in for one game and he put me on against, I don't even know who was playing. Fuck knows who we were playing. There's some team in League One. And I didn't do anything wrong, but I didn't do anything right. Like I wasn't like, he was just, he couldn't wait to dig me out.
Right.
It was like he brought
Unless
me
you
back.
came on, scored a hat-trick, danced around everyone.
Yeah, it was like he was expecting me to come on and be Maradona.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, mate, you've used me one game for 20 minutes. And he slaughtered me after the game in the dressing room. You fucking not good enough. I was like, you've brought me back in for 1 week.
Yeah.
Like, give me a chance.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? I've not played for a year. Like, I hadn't been involved. And after that, I was like, no, fuck you.
Right.
Yeah, you fuck off. You're a prick. And, you know, he could never look you in the eye, Kenny Jacket. He never looked you in the eye.
So even when he's having a go at you, he's like looking off.
Yeah, looking, he don't fucking look at you. And I was like, nah, fuck off. After that, I was like, you can do one. You ain't fucking had my back, so I ain't having your back. And that was it then. I was like, nah, I'll go back to training at 2:00 in the afternoon, no problem. And then I did. It got to the point where eventually they were like, we've got to sort this situation out.
Yeah.
And they ended up paying me off. So I actually, people don't know this, I had 2 years left on my contract, which was worth £2 million. Well, £1.8 million. My contract was left.
Yeah.
I sacrificed the whole last year of my money to leave.
To be able to get out.
To get out.
Yeah.
So I said, you pay me up front this year's money, I'll sacrifice the year after. So I gave up £1 million basically to get out of Wolves. But they paid me that contract up front. Because I thought if I leave, I've got an opportunity to go and play somewhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere. I've got £1 million safety net of what they've paid me.
Right.
Or it was close, £1 million gross, right? So I still had to tax the money.
Yeah.
I had £1 million on my contract paid up. £1 million I sacrificed. Everyone walked away happy. Wolves were, doing well again.
Right.
Everyone had moved on. And I was like, I don't care where I go. I just want to play football. I would have gone and played for fucking Sutton Dynamos. I just needed to play football. I didn't care where it was, but I wasn't going to walk away from money for my family.
Yeah.
And I had bills to pay.
Yeah.
I was going through divorce at that time as well. Like, it was difficult.
Yeah.
So I ended up walking away, and I went and trained on my own for a few months. And actually, Harry Redknapp phoned me and said, he was at QPR at the time in the Premier League, and he said, do you want to? I said, Harry, I need some help. I said, I'm struggling.
Right.
I'm in the shit.
Yeah.
I'm fucking down. I'm depressed. I'm going through divorce. I haven't got a club. My money's running out. I know you're at QPR. Can I come and train? I said, you ain't got. I don't want no money. I don't need to offer it. Just put me in an environment where I feel safe. Where people know me. You know me. The coaches know me. Let me just come and train. He said, James, get in the fucking car. I'll see you tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah. So next day I went down to QPR and I trained with him for 3 months every single day, and he treated me like a first team player. I was there with Bobby Zamora, Sean Wright Phillips, Cole Henry, some really good lads, proper lads, and we had a good side there. We had a really good team of people, and I trained every day with QPR like I was part of the team, and I was like the fucking best player. He used to come up to me after training and being like, "Jamie, you're unbelievable." He wanted to sign me.
Yeah.
Like, he actually wanted to sign me. But his rota was full with the 25 players that he could sign.
Okay.
So he couldn't physically sign me because he didn't have any space. He said, train with me until you get something sorted.
Right.
Lee Clark phoned him from Blackpool. He took over at Blackpool. Blackpool were in the shit, but they was in the Championship. He phoned Harry Redknapp and he said, I've heard Jamie's been training with you. Is he fit? He said, get him in the car, get him up to Blackpool, sign him tomorrow. He was like, really? He said, you don't need a trial, just sign him. I said, I promise you it'll be the best decision you made. And Harry Redknapp doesn't actually realise, and I've told him this in the past, and he's gave me a hug over it. I actually think he saved my life.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because
you were really lost and
I was
in
lost,
a bad place.
Mate. I was lost. I was in a bad way mentally, because it like someone took my legs away from me. Do you know what I mean? Like, all I wanted to do was play football, and I didn't have a house. Wasn't allowed back to my house. I was going through divorce.
Yeah.
I had nowhere to live. I was going back to my dad's. I was staying in hotels. I was just didn't know where I was going from day to day. Turning up at QPR training and then didn't know where I was going afterwards.
Yeah.
And him helping me through that period and just giving me the chance to go and be in a decent environment. I actually believe saved my life, because I was actually getting to points where there were times when I was leaving Wolves and I was with no club and they paid me up and I was driving around in the car down the motorway thinking I could drive off a bridge here and not even care.
Wow.
I was in a really bad place, and he really helped me through that period, actually, Harry, without even realising. He got me back to a point where I started enjoying football again.
And I imagine that not everyone would have done that in his situation, because he didn't really get any benefit out of it, did he?
No benefit at all. There was no benefit for him in any way. He just done it.
Couldn't sign you and
couldn't sign me.
Just wanted to help
He just
you
wanted
out.
to help me. He knew me.
Yeah.
He knew I was a good lad.
Yeah.
And he saw a perception of me which was in the media, which he didn't believe was right and wasn't me. And he knew I was a good kid. He got no benefit out of that whatsoever. But he treated me like I was one of his star players. And that for me was, life changing, because it helped me get to a point where I got back on the football pitch for Blackpool. And I signed for Blackpool and I got player of the season.
So looking back at your playing career, given what you've said, it's probably fair to say you don't feel like you reached your potential.
No.
Is that mainly injuries? Could it have been different?
I think injuries were a massive factor. I think obviously the broken back was changed the way I played. I couldn't run as fast or as quick. I wasn't as sharp or mobile as I was before that injury. There was obviously that factor, but then there was other factors as well in terms of lifestyle changes, the way I acted off a football pitch, and the lifestyle that I was living, and decisions that I was making maybe were, not tunnel vision decisions. Right. I was opening myself up to criticism, with all the time with doing fucking magazine shoots and do you know what I mean? OK Magazine. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? Like thinking that I was David Beckham, right? I'm not David Beckham.
Okay.
I'm not playing for Man United. I'm not going out with Victoria Beckham, right? You know what I mean? So I made some bad calls, but when you're in it at the time, you don't see. It's only when you look back or you look from the outside in, realise what a dickhead you look like. You're like, what are you doing?
But I don't think anyone could look back at their journey, no matter how successful they've been, and not think, if I'd have changed that, it would make a big difference. Yeah,
and people talk about like my potential. Really, I should have played for England. Like with the potential that I had in terms of age groups that I played and how good I was, and the stature that I had as a young player in the country was, one of the best, the top 5, in the country. So in terms of potential, I didn't reach it, but I also reached a point where I still had a really good career.
Yeah.
I played for Tottenham, I played for Portsmouth, I played in an FA Cup final, semi-finals, Carabao Cup finals. You know what I mean? I represented under 21s. I played a lot of games in the Championship. I still made a career out of something that, was from nothing. So in terms of, I could have been better. I should have been better if I didn't get as injured as much as I did. I had a lot of bad injuries, and then and different decisions that you make, little decisions that could have took you in a different direction. But I think everything sets you up for where I am now. And I look back and people ask me and go, hey, could have done this, could have done that. I'm like, I've had a journey and I've had an unbelievable life so far, and it's put me in a position where I kind of always wanted to be. I'm in a great position now.
If you enjoyed that was just a small clip from my conversation with Jamie O'Hara. If you want to watch the full podcast episode, you can do so right here.